Hello and welcome to another video from the Austrian capital of Vienna. Today we're going on an orange U-Bahn line 3 mission from here in Simmering down to Ottakring.
The district of Simmering is a large residential and industrial area. Discount stores and kebab stands line its main drag, Simmeringer Hauptstraße, where we begin today's adventure. Despite its reputation and location, this area around the U-Bahn station was giving some small village vibes with its colourful buildings glistening in the sun. Passing the fruit and veg stalls, we're into the first Orange Line station on the hunt for a ticket. Vienna has a wide range of ticket options depending on how long you're staying in the city, and the ticket machines are easy to use in English. What looks less easy to use are the hollowed out escalators. Anyone see the video from a Chinese mall where a woman was swallowed up by an escalator floor falling through? Ouch. Down to the platform, it's time to grab the train and get this adventure underway, and look at whether Vienna is a city worth visiting. On today's journey, we're going to be snaking our way through the Austrian capital both overground on foot and underground on the train, starting in the 11th district of Simmering, heading north through the delights of the city centre before heading out west to the final station, Ottakring.
So we're off at the interestingly titled station Gasometer. So the main interesting point here is the buildings behind it, these circular buildings. There are actually 4 of them, one behind the other, behind the other, behind the other, and they all have different things inside. We're going to go and take a look now.
The gasometers, 4 converted 19th century gas containers, now have shops, restaurants, event spaces and apartments inside. Hidden gems like this away from the main tourist areas are one of my favourite aspects of exploring subway lines. Imagine living in one of these apartments, such a cool location. The gas containers are connected together by glass walkways. The one closest to the U-Bahn entrance seems to have the most going on with all the supermarkets, shops and restaurants. The containers further back appear to be quieter and emptier, but overall a very cool station.
We're now going to walk between Gasometer and Erdberg. This is the area that I'm staying in between these 2 stations, so it's an easy walk between the two. Quite a few supermarkets and shops, and also the main focal point of Erdberg is its bus station, because that's where a lot of the Flixbus and other international buses go from.
The area between these 2 stations is mainly apartments and slightly out-of-town supermarkets and shopping malls. If you can guess where I stayed, leave it in the comments.
We're heading for a look around Erdberg bus station. I arrived to this bus station on my bus from Prague a few days ago, and it was fairly simple enough to arrive and just escape the bus station. As for picking up buses there, not so sure. I'm taking a bus from there tomorrow to Bratislava, and it did look a little bit messy / chaotic when I got off. And it was really busy at the time. It was a Saturday, so maybe it's different today, which is, what day is it today? Tuesday. So forgetting the days when on holiday.
Oh, the joys of being able to forget what day it is whilst on holiday. Next up on our Orange Line adventure is the ever glamorous Vienna International Bus Terminal, where you can pick up low-cost buses that go across Europe. As bus stations go, it's, let's say, cheap and cheerful, basic, no frills, keeping it simple. Not sure which of these is the most and least complimentary terminology, but it serves its purpose, and you can grab a quick snack and visit the WC before starting your journey.
So yeah, that was the bus station, and then from there you can get really easily onto the U-Bahn line 3, Erdberg on the Orange Line, where we're going to continue our journey. Here it is. Whew. So let's go a little bit more into the centre and see what we can find.
So, it's back onto line 3 for a short train ride to our next station. Some of the older trains on this line actually require you to pull the handle to open the carriage door. How retro. Our next stop, Kardinal Nagl Platz, is a bit of an oasis of calm amongst the more central suburbs. Love the quirky graffiti up the side of this building. Not sure if it adds or detracts value from the properties though. Does Austria have its own Banksy? This filming day was another scorcher, so it was a great time to find a shaded rotunda for a quick break from the sun.
It's a nice little walk between the next few stations on the Orange Line. I did this yesterday when only one of the tracks was working and I had to keep getting off the train due to the fact that it stopped for a while and due to the fact if I was just going to probably pass out from the lack of aircon. So yeah, I walked through here to as far as Landstraße. The good thing about these streets is they're lined with trees, so actually that's shading a lot of the direct sunlight out. It is ever so slightly cooler today. I mean, not by much. It's probably like 29 or 30 rather than 32 or 33, but it does feel less oppressive humidity wise. But I'm still in major need of caffeine on the trip, so these are as I was saying, the inner suburbs. So as we get close to the centre, my favourite place while travelling that I never go to in the UK, Starbucks, will be ready to bring me really expensive tea for like almost €4. You can buy a whole bag of tea bags for that in the UK, but there we go.
Luckily for me, there was a nice little street shower just before the next station.
And these are an absolute godsend in the middle of the city, just spraying you with water, or Wiener Wasser as it's called. Sounds filthy. Okay, now we've had an absolute face full of Wiener Wasser, which sounds incredibly filthy in English. We are going to go through this tunnel, which leads down to, well, past this current metro station, Rokus or Rochusgasse, and then to Landstraße.
This was a really quirky little walk between the next couple of U-Bahn stops. It almost felt as though I was walking through someone's garden or by the side of their house. It didn't seem as though it would be the correct way to go, but luckily it was. Another reason to visit Vienna, it's a huge cycling city and very easy to get around. Looks as though plenty of people cycled to the market and or to catch a train. Traversing through the market, there's plenty of cute little stores, eateries and coffee shops, yet it's surprisingly quiet. Do Austrians take an afternoon siesta? Some super cool bar streets that wouldn't look out of place in southern Europe. Loving the umbrellas. And here we are passing Landstraße, one of the biggest stations on the line, surrounded by a mini shopping centre. Another reason to visit Vienna is its abundance of beautiful parks in and around the city centre. Here we're sliding through a section of park towards the next Orange Line station, Steubentor. Just over the road we have some interesting art installations and a rather splattered monument. Not quite sure how appropriate some of this graffiti is. Awkward. Cruising through some of the back streets, I got a little distracted. Yes, by sweets and chocolate. Some things never change. I've always had such a sweet tooth, and this looks delicious.
So not gonna lie, I just sat in the Stad Park for about 30 to 40 minutes. It is cooling down slightly now, but probably mainly because in the central area the buildings are closer together, so you're more in the shade. We're gonna try and walk between the next couple of stations because there should be interesting things, we're very central, then get back on the U-Bahn and go further west.
Sounds as though I was already struggling with the heat and humidity. Some things, well, apparently a lot of things never change. This route takes us through one of the top tourist spots of Vienna, Stephansplatz. The square is named after its most prominent building, the Stephansdom, Vienna's cathedral and one of the tallest churches in the world. For a central area, it has a really charming and relaxed feel, plenty of nice places to sit out and enjoy a meal and a drink. We've got plenty of metro lines still to cover, so we're off out the other side of Stephansplatz towards Hofburg Palace, which contains a museum which examines the life of the iconic Empress Elizabeth. You can also walk around the external courtyards for my favourite price, free.
So we reached the next station, Herrengasse, and the mad thing about Vienna is there's so many beautiful buildings, churches and like monuments and stuff, that this particular church behind me, which is stunning in its own right, massive, it must be not one of the major sites, so this square is just absolutely deserted. I don't know if it's more of an office embassy type thing maybe, because there's lots of EU flags and Austrian flags. But yeah, there's just so much here that some of them are just, nobody's looking around them, nobody's around here. But yeah, obviously a lot of work went into that church. Anyway, we're going to continue on foot because I think it'll be more exciting than being underground.
If you know more about the Herrengasse area, feel free to enlighten us all about it in the comments. And now for my personal favourite area and station on this line. Basking in the late afternoon sunshine, it's the fantabulously stunning Volksgarten. The Volksgarten, or People's Garden in English, is a public park in Vienna's central district. The park was built over the city fortifications that were destroyed by Napoleon in 1809. The garden was laid out by Ludwig Remy in 1821 and opened to the public in 1823.
It's actually dangerous for me to end up in any type of gardens at the moment because I'm likely to just sit by a tree or on a bench and then waste loads of time and not get the video finished. So I think we're looking for Volkstheater, which should just be over here. Then we'll probably go to Westbahnhof and then towards the end of the line.
I guess here I'm mentally preparing to see one of my favourite stations. Remember to subscribe, there are Metro line adventures coming from Warsaw and Budapest soon. Out the other side of the Volksgarten is the Austrian Parliament building. The building was designed by Danish architect Theophil Hansen in a Greek Revival style and took 9 years to build, finally opening in 1883. Heading down now into the stunning Volkstheater station. I love the layout and design of this one, with the artwork Das Werden der Natur or The Becoming of Nature by Anton Lehmden high above the tracks. Drifting further on the Orange Line to Westbahnhof in Vienna's 15th district. Westbahnhof is still one of the busiest stations in Vienna, despite the fact that it handles fewer international trains since the opening of the central station in 2015. The original Westbahnhof dates all the way back to 1858, undergoing a post-World War II rebuild after sustaining bomb damage. And after a long day adventuring through Vienna, we're approaching the final station. I think we can safely say that Vienna is definitely a city worth visiting.
So that was the U-Bahn Line 3 Orange Line video from Simmering to Ottakring and everything in between. If you liked it, hit the like button, give me some comments, remember to subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.